In the vast, unyielding expanse of the 41st millennium, the Imperium of man teeters on the brink of ruin. Its survival is a grim testament to the sacrifices of countless billions, the iron will of its leaders, and the unrelenting efforts of its countless soldiers, priests, and bureaucrats. Yet, among the sea of pious zealots, stoic warriors, and unflinching servants of the God Emperor, there exists one name that stands apart: Ciaphas Cain, hero of the Imperium. To the uninitiated, Cain's reputation is a tapestry of valorous deeds, a commissar of unparalleled bravery, a steadfast defender of humanity, and an unyielding bulwark against the endless horrors that threaten the Imperium. Tales of his courage spread like wildfire through the ranks of the Astra Militarum, inspiring hope in the face of despair and rallying troops in the direst of circumstances. He is celebrated as a paragon of duty and selflessness, his name spoken with reverence even in the halls of the Schola Progenium. But, as with all legends, the truth is far more complicated. Cain's rise to fame and his status as a hero is anything but straightforward. Beneath the gilded veneer of his reputation lies a complex man, one whose greatest skill was not his mastery of combat or his unshakable faith in the Emperor, but his uncanny ability to survive. Cain's sharp wit, unmatched adaptability, and knack for finding himself in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the right time, set him apart as an unconventional figure in the grim darkness of the far future. Yet, how did a man like Ciaphas Cain, whose primary ambition was to avoid danger and live a long life, come to be celebrated as one of the Imperium's greatest heroes? What circumstances thrust him into the crucible of war, forcing him to confront Xenos horrors, chaos abominations, and internal political strife? And how did he manage not only to survive these trials, but to emerge from them with his legend intact? To understand Cain's journey, one must delve into the intricate web of events that shaped his life and legacy. His story is not just one of personal survival, but of the extraordinary role that perception, luck, and a healthy dose of cunning can play in the shaping of history. Through the chronicles of his exploits, often recorded with both humility and humor by his loyal aide, Jürgen, we gain a rare glimpse into the human element of the Imperium's ceaseless war for survival. This is not merely a tale of battles and glory. It is a story of humanity in its rawest form. Cain's narrative reflects the paradox of the Imperium itself, a fragile, flawed existence clinging to survival in a universe that knows no mercy. As we journey through the key moments of his life and career, we'll uncover the truths behind the myths and explore why, despite his own doubts and self-deprecating humor, Ciaphas Cain truly is the hero of the Imperium. Prepare to step into the world of Ciaphas Cain, a world where courage often masks fear, where luck is just as vital as skill, and where a man can find himself hailed as a hero even when his primary goal is to stay alive. For in the grim darkness of the far future, heroism is as much about survival as it is about sacrifice. Ciaphas Cain's journey to becoming the so-called hero of the Imperium began not with grand ambitions or a burning desire to serve humanity, but with a simple and pragmatic goal: survival. As a commissar in the Astra Militarum, Cain's role was ostensibly to inspire courage and enforce discipline among the ranks, often at great personal risk. However, it was his unique combination of quick thinking, charisma, and an uncanny ability to manipulate situations to his advantage that set him apart from his peers. Cain's early career, like that of many commissars, began in the rigid training environment of the Schola Progenium. It was here that he honed his skills in rhetoric, leadership, and combat, traits expected of any commissar. But what truly defined him was his sharp wit and talent for self-preservation. These qualities, though not traditionally celebrated by the Imperium, became the foundation of his reputation. His first major deployment came during a campaign on the war-torn planet of Desolation IV, a barren world plagued by orc incursions. The Astra Militarum regiment to which Cain was attached was outnumbered, undersupplied, and demoralized. It was a perfect storm of despair, one that would have crushed a lesser leader. Cain, however, saw an opportunity to shine, though not entirely by design. When the regiment's commanding officer fell during an ambush, Cain found himself thrust into an impromptu leadership role. Facing imminent destruction, he orchestrated a retreat that was as strategic as it was chaotic, preserving most of the regiment's fighting strength and ensuring their survival. This event, though far from a resounding victory, marked the beginning of Cain's legend. Stories of his heroic actions spread through the ranks, exaggerated by word of mouth and bolstered by his own modest retellings. Soldiers, desperate for a figure to rally behind, began to see Cain as a symbol of hope, a reputation he neither fully embraced nor actively dispelled. The reality of the situation was far more nuanced. Cain's actions were driven as much by a desire to save his own skin as by any higher sense of duty. Yet the perception of heroism is often more powerful than the truth, and Cain quickly learned to navigate this delicate balance. Over time, his reputation grew, bolstered by a series of engagements where luck, cunning, and his uncanny ability to exploit the chaos of battle played pivotal roles. One such instance occurred on Perlia, a world besieged by chaos cultists. Cain's involvement in the defense of the planet was marked by a series of brilliant tactical decisions, many of which were the result of improvisation rather than careful planning. From leading a desperate counteroffensive to holding the line against overwhelming odds, his actions became the stuff of legend. What was less often recounted, however, were the moments of panic, doubt, and pure luck that allowed him to survive and thrive. It was also during these early campaigns that Cain formed a partnership with his trusted aide, Jurgen. A seemingly unremarkable soldier, Jurgen possessed qualities that made him an invaluable ally: unwavering loyalty, an unassuming demeanor, and a peculiar knack for being in the right place at the right time. Together, they navigated the perils of war, with Jurgen often serving as both a literal and figurative shield for Cain. While Jurgen's contributions were rarely acknowledged in official records, those who fought alongside them knew the truth. Without Jurgen, Cain's legend might have been cut short. The culmination of these early exploits laid the foundation for Cain's enduring status as a hero. By the time he was reassigned to the Valhallan Ice Warriors, his reputation preceded him. Here, he faced a new set of challenges, from navigating the regiment's unique culture to battling Xenos threats. Yet, as always, Cain found ways to turn even the direst situations to his advantage, often emerging as the reluctant hero of the hour. What made Cain's rise to prominence so extraordinary was not merely his actions, but the way in which those actions were perceived. In an Imperium desperate for symbols of hope, Cain became a convenient figurehead. His exploits, carefully curated by those around him, painted a picture of unwavering bravery and selflessness. Yet, for those who knew him best, the truth was far more complex. Cain's heroism was as much a product of circumstance and perception as it was of any intrinsic quality. As Cain's legend grew, so too did the weight of expectation. He found himself drawn into increasingly dangerous situations, often against his will, as those around him sought to capitalize on his reputation. Yet, time and again, he rose to the occasion, not because he sought glory, but because he had no other choice. It was this reluctant, pragmatic approach to heroism that endeared him to those who fought alongside him and cemented his place in the annals of the Imperium. In the end, the question of why Ciaphas Cain became a hero is as much about the Imperium's need for heroes as it is about Cain himself. His story is one of survival, perception, and the thin line between truth and legend, a testament to the power of narrative in a galaxy defined by chaos and conflict. The rise of Ciaphas Cain to his celebrated status within the Imperium was not the result of a single moment or decision, but rather a convergence of circumstances, personalities, and the unrelenting nature of the galaxy he inhabited. To understand what led to Cain's recognition as a hero, one must first examine the environment and challenges that defined his early career, and how the forces at play shaped his actions and the perception of them. The Imperium of Man is a colossal entity spanning countless worlds and governed by an unyielding bureaucracy. Its military forces, from the mighty Space Marines to the countless regiments of the Astra Militarum, are perpetually engaged in wars of survival. For the common soldier, existence is often short and brutal, with hope a scarce commodity. Commissars like Cain are intended to be symbols of discipline and inspiration, tasked with maintaining order and morale amidst the chaos of war. This role, however, places them in constant proximity to danger and leaves little room for error. Cain entered this crucible of war with a unique blend of pragmatism and charm, qualities that set him apart from his peers. His training at the Schola Progenium, though rigorous, could not fully prepare him for the harsh realities of the battlefield. Like many others, his first assignments were in regiments facing desperate situations, outnumbered, outgunned, and undermined by a lack of resources. These conditions served as the backdrop for the formative moments of his career. One of the critical elements leading to Cain's eventual acclaim was his ability to adapt to the Imperium's chaotic nature. Unlike more rigid commissars who relied solely on doctrine and fear, Cain understood that survival often required flexibility and cunning. He quickly learned to navigate the complex dynamics of military hierarchies, earning the trust of soldiers and officers alike. This trust, though initially rooted in Cain's ability to avoid catastrophic losses, gradually grew into a deeper respect for his apparent courage and resourcefulness. The galaxy itself also played a significant role in Cain's rise. The constant threat of alien invasions, heretical uprisings, and internal strife created an environment where figures like Cain could thrive. In an Imperium stretched thin, victories were often hard-won and heroes scarce. Cain's actions, whether intentionally heroic or not, were amplified by the desperate need for symbols of hope. His willingness, or more accurately, his survival instinct, often placed him at the forefront of critical engagements where his presence became synonymous with success. Another important factor was the role of narratives within the Imperium. Stories of Cain's exploits spread rapidly, carried by survivors who embellished the details to inspire others. In the absence of reliable communications across vast distances, these tales often became the only accounts of his deeds, shaping his reputation in ways he could not entirely control. The Imperium's propaganda machine, ever eager to present victories and heroes, also played its part in elevating Cain's status. Whether he sought this attention or not, the perception of Cain as a paragon of bravery began to solidify. Cain's association with key figures and pivotal moments further cemented his position. From the early days of his career, he had a knack for being in the center of decisive events, whether defending a city against a Xenos assault or rallying troops in the face of overwhelming odds. While his personal motivations often stemmed from a desire to avoid the worst outcomes, his actions frequently aligned with what the Imperium needed most: a figure to rally behind. Additionally, Cain's partnership with Jurgen cannot be overlooked. Jurgen's loyalty and unique talents provided Cain with an edge that many of his contemporaries lacked. Whether it was Jurgen's uncanny ability to handle situations others could not, or his steadfast presence in battle, his contributions ensured Cain's survival and, by extension, the success of their shared endeavors. Their dynamic, though understated, became a cornerstone of Cain's effectiveness. The broader socio-political climate of the Imperium also contributed to Cain's rise. In a galaxy defined by unending war, individual acts of heroism became vital for maintaining morale and unity. Cain's exploits, even when driven by luck or pragmatism, fulfilled this need. His ability to deliver tangible results, often in the form of lives saved or victories achieved, made him a valuable asset to both his superiors and the soldiers under his command. Ultimately, what led to the creation of the legend surrounding Ciaphas Cain was a combination of his adaptability, the needs of the Imperium, and the chaotic nature of the universe itself. Cain did not seek to become a hero. Instead, the circumstances of his life and the perceptions of those around him propelled him into that role. In many ways, Cain's story is a reflection of the Imperium as a whole, a desperate struggle for survival shaped by chance, resilience, and the narratives that emerge from the fog of war. Ciaphas Cain's ascension to his celebrated status as hero of the Imperium was marked by a series of pivotal events, each more dangerous and improbable than the last. While Cain often insisted that his actions were driven by self-preservation rather than heroism, the outcomes of his exploits consistently painted a different picture. These events, spanning multiple campaigns, regiments, and even theaters of war, created a legacy that would define him in the eyes of the Imperium. One of the earliest defining moments in Cain's career came during his deployment with the 12th Valhallan Ice Warriors. This regiment, known for its tenacity and resilience, had recently merged two depleted battalions, one predominantly male and the other female, into a single fighting force. The initial mistrust and friction between the soldiers presented Cain with a unique challenge, one that threatened the regiment's combat effectiveness. Displaying an uncharacteristic willingness to engage with his troops, Cain worked tirelessly to bridge the divide. Through his visible presence and careful diplomacy, he not only restored cohesion, but also earned the respect of soldiers who might otherwise have seen him as just another bureaucratic overseer. Shortly afterward, Cain faced his first major test with the Valhallans during the defense of a remote agri-world under attack by Orc forces. The situation was dire. The Greenskins had overrun much of the planet, and the regiment was outnumbered and outgunned. Cain's brilliant leadership, as later recounted in official records, became the turning point. In truth, his decisions were often improvised and motivated by a desire to minimize personal risk, but the results were undeniable. Whether through sheer luck, the steadfastness of his troops, or his ability to exploit the chaos of battle, Cain managed to orchestrate a series of victories that culminated in the repulsion of the Orc horde. This campaign cemented his reputation as a tactical genius, even if the reality was more nuanced. Another critical moment came on the hive world of Gravilax, where Cain found himself entangled in a volatile political situation involving human settlers and Tau diplomats. Tasked with maintaining order and protecting Imperial interests, Cain quickly realized that the threat was not merely external, but internal as well. Factions within the planet's leadership had begun to align themselves with the Tau, creating a precarious environment ripe for rebellion. Cain's ability to navigate the intricacies of diplomacy and intrigue proved invaluable. By exposing the treachery and rallying loyalist forces, he not only preserved the planet's allegiance to the Imperium, but also prevented what could have been a catastrophic loss of strategic resources. This incident showcased a different side of Cain, one where his sharp intellect and adaptability took precedence over brute force. Throughout his career, Cain's name became associated with a string of improbable successes, each more dramatic than the last. On Perlia, he played a pivotal role in defending against an invasion by Chaos forces. The battle was marked by overwhelming odds, with Cain's regiment outnumbered and ill-equipped to face the demonic horrors unleashed upon them. Yet, as always, Cain found himself thrust into the spotlight, leading a desperate counteroffensive that turned the tide. Whether through careful delegation or the unflinching support of his aide, Jurgen, Cain emerged victorious. The soldiers under his command, many of whom had resigned themselves to death, saw him as a beacon of hope, further cementing his legendary status. Cain's exploits were not confined to conventional battlefields. His involvement in the suppression of cult activity on the industrial world of Adumbria highlighted his versatility. While investigating suspicious activity in the lower hive, Cain uncovered a conspiracy involving Chaos worshippers who had infiltrated key positions within the planetary government. The subsequent battle in the claustrophobic confines of the hive's underbelly was a stark departure from the open field engagements he had previously faced. Yet, despite the unfamiliar terrain and the ever-present threat of ambush, Cain managed to dismantle the cult's operations and restore order. His role in this victory reinforced his reputation as a man who could handle even the most unorthodox challenges. One of the recurring themes in Cain's career was his uncanny ability to turn potential disasters into opportunities for triumph. Time and again, he found himself in situations where survival seemed impossible, yet he emerged not only unscathed, but celebrated. Whether it was facing down a rampaging Tyranid swarm or holding the line against traitorous planetary defense forces, Cain's actions became the stuff of legend. What set him apart was not just his knack for survival, but his ability to inspire those around him. Soldiers who fought alongside Cain often described him as a calming presence, even in the face of unimaginable horrors. This perception, whether accurate or not, played a crucial role in his rise to fame. Ultimately, the key stages of Cain's journey were defined not by grand plans or carefully orchestrated strategies, but by a series of moments where his quick thinking, adaptability, and unshakable determination to survive aligned with the needs of the Imperium. These events, though often chaotic and unpredictable, formed the foundation of his legacy, ensuring that his name would be remembered long after the battles had ended. The defining moments of Ciaphas Cain's career often hinged on critical decisions that, while appearing heroic in hindsight, were frequently driven by instinct, circumstance, or sheer luck. These pivotal events not only solidified his reputation, but also revealed the unique combination of qualities that allowed him to thrive in an environment where survival was never guaranteed. One of the most significant events in Cain's career unfolded during the defense of Perlia. The planet, a modest but strategically important Imperial world, was under siege by Chaos forces. The situation was dire, with civilian panic threatening to unravel the defenders' already tenuous position. Cain, tasked with rallying the local militia and coordinating their efforts with the Valhallan Ice Warriors, faced an overwhelming challenge. The enemy's relentless advance and the civilian unrest created a volatile mix that could have easily led to disaster. Cain's key decision during this campaign was to establish a fortified position in the heart of the capital city, using it as a rallying point for both soldiers and civilians. By doing so, he provided a visible symbol of resistance and created a defensible location where resources could be concentrated. Though Cain later admitted that his primary motivation was to keep himself far from the front lines, the psychological impact of this move was profound. The sight of a commissar standing firm in the midst of chaos inspired the defenders to hold their ground, ultimately buying enough time for reinforcements to arrive. What could have been a catastrophic loss instead became a hard-fought victory, with Cain at the center of the narrative. Another turning point came during his deployment to Adumbria, where he uncovered and thwarted a chaos cult operating within the planet's hive cities. Cain's decision to personally investigate suspicious activity in the Underhive, a task many would have delegated to lower-ranking personnel, proved to be a decisive moment. What began as a routine inspection quickly escalated into a full-scale conflict as the cult's plans came to light. Cain's ability to adapt to the rapidly changing situation, coupled with his reliance on Jurgen's unwavering support, allowed him to dismantle the cult's operations and prevent a wider uprising. This incident highlighted one of Cain's most notable qualities, his ability to recognize the importance of small, seemingly insignificant details. While others might have dismissed the initial signs of heresy as isolated incidents, Cain's cautious nature drove him to investigate further. This instinct for self-preservation, while self-serving on the surface, often led him to uncover threats that others might have overlooked. His actions on Adumbria not only saved countless lives, but also reinforced his reputation as a leader willing to face danger head-on. Cain's involvement in the Gravelax crisis was another critical moment in his career. Tasked with maintaining order during tense negotiations between the Imperium and the Tau, Cain found himself in the middle of a precarious situation. The fragile peace was threatened by internal dissent, as factions within the planetary leadership sought to align themselves with the Tau for personal gain. Cain's decisive action in exposing the traitors and rallying loyalist forces turned the tide in favor of the Imperium. What set this event apart was Cain's ability to navigate the complexities of diplomacy and politics, areas where most commissars were ill-equipped to operate. By leveraging his charm and adaptability, he was able to build alliances and outmaneuver his opponents, ensuring the planet remained under Imperial control. This combination of tactical acumen and political savvy became a hallmark of Cain's career, allowing him to succeed in situations that would have overwhelmed others. Perhaps the most dramatic decision of Cain's career came during his encounter with a tyrannid infestation on a remote agri-world. The Tyranids, a relentless and adaptive enemy, posed a threat that defied conventional tactics. Cain's solution, born of desperation and ingenuity, involved using the planet's irrigation systems to flood the Tyrannid hives, effectively neutralizing the threat without engaging in a costly frontal assault. This bold move, while risky, demonstrated Cain's ability to think outside the box and leverage the resources at his disposal to achieve victory. The aftermath of this decision further cemented Cain's legend. His apparent calm under pressure and willingness to take decisive action were lauded by his superiors and subordinates alike, even as Cain privately reflected on the sheer terror he had felt throughout the ordeal. This duality, his public image as a fearless hero and his private acknowledgement of his own limitations, was a recurring theme in his career, contributing to his enduring appeal. Throughout these and countless other engagements, Cain's ability to make critical decisions under pressure defined his legacy. Whether it was leading a desperate counterattack, exposing a hidden threat, or finding innovative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems, his actions consistently aligned with the needs of the Imperium. While Cain himself might downplay his role, attributing his successes to luck or the efforts of those around him, the impact of his decisions is undeniable. They not only ensured his survival, but also inspired those who served alongside him, solidifying his place as one of the Imperium's most celebrated figures. The impact of Ciaphas Cain's actions on the galaxy and the Imperium cannot be understated, though the true scope of that influence often lies hidden beneath layers of myth and misinterpretation. His exploits, however unintentional their outcomes may have been, consistently provided the Imperium with tangible victories and intangible morale boosts in its unending struggle for survival. On a practical level, Cain's interventions directly preserved countless lives and safeguarded strategic assets. Planets like Perlia, Adumbria, and Gravalax, which were at critical junctures of their own survival, owe their continued place in the Imperium to his actions. These victories secured vital resources, from agricultural produce to industrial output, for the Imperium's war machine, ensuring that its vast armies could continue their campaigns on other fronts. In a galaxy where even the smallest disruption can spiral into catastrophe, Cain's ability to resolve crises helped maintain the fragile balance needed to sustain humanity's dominion. Cain's influence extended beyond the material, however, into the realm of morale and unity. His reputation as a hero of unparalleled courage became a rallying point for soldiers across the Astra Militarum. In a galaxy rife with despair, where entire regiments often face insurmountable odds, the knowledge that a figure like Cain had faced similar horrors and triumphed offered hope. His name became a byword for resilience and ingenuity, a symbol that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, humanity could endure. The stories of Cain's exploits were particularly significant in inspiring the rank-and-file soldiers of the Astra Militarum. These troops, often drawn from worlds with little understanding of the wider galaxy, were thrust into battles against enemies they could scarcely comprehend. Hearing tales of a commissar who stood alongside them in the trenches, shared in their hardships, and emerged victorious gave them something to believe in. Cain's reputation bridged the gap between the common soldier and the distant, often aloof leaders of the Imperium, fostering a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. Cain's actions also had a notable effect on the perception of the commissariat. Traditionally viewed as stern enforcers whose primary tools were fear and punishment, commissars were often resented by the soldiers under their command. Cain, however, presented an alternative model of leadership. His visible presence in battle, his willingness to engage directly with troops, and his pragmatic approach to discipline set him apart from his peers. This not only endeared him to the soldiers, but also challenged the prevailing image of the commissariat, demonstrating that effectiveness could be achieved through respect rather than fear. On a broader scale, Cain's legacy influenced the Imperium's understanding of heroism and leadership. His actions underscored the importance of adaptability, quick thinking, and human connection in a galaxy dominated by rigid hierarchies and unyielding dogma. While the official records of his exploits often embellished or omitted key details, the essence of his story, one of perseverance and ingenuity, resonated with those who heard it. Cain's example showed that even in the most oppressive and unforgiving environments, individuals could rise above their circumstances to make a difference. The lasting impact of Cain's reputation extended beyond the battlefield. His name became a staple of Imperial propaganda, featured in everything from recruitment posters to inspiring speeches. While the exact details of his adventures were often distorted or exaggerated, the core message remained the same. Cain represented the resilience and resourcefulness of humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. This narrative played a crucial role in maintaining the Imperium's unity, providing a counterbalance to the fear and despair that often accompanied its brutal campaigns. Even after Cain's active service, the records of his exploits continued to inspire new generations of soldiers and commanders. His example served as a reminder that heroism is not solely the domain of the powerful or the exceptional, but something that can emerge from even the most unassuming individuals. This message, though simple, had profound implications for a galaxy in which ordinary men and women were often the first and last line of defense against annihilation. At the same time, Cain's influence on the wider Imperium cannot be divorced from the peculiarities of his own character. His self-deprecating humor, his aversion to unnecessary risk, and his reliance on his loyal aide, Jurgen, added a layer of humanity to his legend that was often absent from the larger-than-life figures of Imperial lore. This relatability made his story all the more compelling, ensuring that his legacy would endure not just as a record of accomplishments, but as a symbol of hope and possibility in a galaxy where such things are in desperately short supply. In the end, the direct impact of Cain's actions on the galaxy is inseparable from their symbolic weight. While his victory secured vital resources, saved countless lives, and preserved the Imperium's fragile stability, his true legacy lies in the hope and inspiration he provided. In a universe defined by despair and darkness, the hero of the Imperium offered a glimpse of light, a reminder that even amidst chaos and destruction, humanity could endure. The uniqueness of Ciaphas Cain's rise to prominence within the Imperium lies not only in the extraordinary circumstances of his career, but also in the distinct aspects of his approach, environment, and the tools at his disposal. His story is filled with contrasts: a reluctant hero celebrated for bravery, a pragmatic survivor seen as an icon of hope, and a figure who thrived in a system designed to crush individuality. One of the most striking aspects of Cain's success was his ability to navigate the bureaucratic and military hierarchies of the Imperium with remarkable finesse. The Imperium is a vast, labyrinthine construct of overlapping authorities, rigid hierarchies, and competing interests. Commissars are expected to uphold the ideals of discipline and loyalty, often through fear and enforcement. Cain, however, subverted this expectation by forging genuine connections with those under his command. His ability to balance the demands of his superiors with the morale of his subordinates was a key element of his leadership style, setting him apart from the traditional model of a commissar. Cain's knack for improvisation was another defining feature of his career. In a galaxy where adherence to doctrine often outweighs practical considerations, his ability to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances proved invaluable. Whether facing overwhelming odds on the battlefield or unraveling political conspiracies, Cain relied on quick thinking and resourcefulness rather than rigid adherence to protocols. This flexibility allowed him to exploit opportunities that others might have missed, often turning potential disasters into improbable victories. A significant factor in Cain's success was his reliance on his aide, Jurgen. While most commissars viewed their staff as expendable tools, Cain's relationship with Jurgen was uniquely collaborative. Jurgen's loyalty and unassuming demeanor complemented Cain's charisma and adaptability, creating a partnership that was greater than the sum of its parts. Jurgen's peculiar talents, including his resistance to psychic powers, often played a critical role in their survival. This dynamic highlighted Cain's ability to recognize and utilize the strengths of those around him, a trait that many of his peers lacked. Cain's understanding of the psychological aspects of warfare also set him apart. He recognized that perception and morale were just as important as tactical considerations in determining the outcome of a conflict. By positioning himself visibly at the forefront of battles and engaging directly with his troops, Cain projected an image of courage and determination that inspired those around him. This ability to influence morale through presence and behavior was a subtle but powerful tool that he wielded with great effectiveness. Another unique element of Cain's story was the way his legend was shaped by the narratives of those around him. Unlike many of the Imperium's celebrated figures, whose reputations were carefully curated by the ecclesiarchy or other official bodies, Cain's fame grew organically. Soldiers, officers, and civilians who witnessed his exploits contributed to the mythos, often embellishing the details to emphasize his heroism. Cain's own self-deprecating accounts, recorded in his private memoirs, reveal a man acutely aware of the gap between perception and reality. This duality, his public image as a fearless hero and his private acknowledgement of his flaws, added a layer of complexity to his legacy. The environments in which Cain operated also contributed to his unique standing. Unlike many commissars who spent their careers in relatively stable regiments, Cain was frequently assigned to postings marked by instability and crisis. Whether it was the fractured Valhallan regiment, the volatile political situation on Gravilax, or the desperate defense of Perlia, Cain's career was defined by challenges that required both tactical acumen and interpersonal skills. These environments, while perilous, provided opportunities for Cain to distinguish himself in ways that more conventional postings would not. Cain's pragmatic approach to heroism further distinguished him from his contemporaries. While others sought glory or adhered rigidly to doctrine, Cain's primary goal was survival. Yet, paradoxically, this self-preservation often led him to take actions that appeared exceptionally brave. His ability to assess risks, identify the least hazardous course of action, and execute it with apparent confidence created an image of calculated bravery that resonated with those who fought alongside him. Lastly, Cain's story reflects the broader realities of the Imperium itself. His rise to prominence was not solely the result of his own actions, but also a product of the galaxy's chaotic and unforgiving nature. In a universe where victories are rare and heroes even rarer, Cain's successes, no matter how accidental or improvised, filled a critical void. His ability to navigate the harsh realities of the Imperium with humor, wit, and determination made him not only a figure of admiration, but also a symbol of humanity's resilience in the face of overwhelming adversity. These unique aspects of Cain's career, from his approach to leadership to his reliance on luck and adaptability, underscore why he remains such a compelling figure. His story is not just one of survival or success, but of how an individual can thrive and inspire in even the most improbable circumstances. The tale of Ciaphas Cain's rise to fame is not one of solitary achievement. It is interwoven with the lives of other remarkable individuals who played pivotal roles in shaping his journey. From steadfast allies to formidable adversaries, these figures contributed to the legend of Cain in ways both direct and indirect, further cementing his place in the annals of the Imperium. One of the most significant figures in Cain's life was his loyal aide, Jurgen. A seemingly unremarkable soldier at first glance, Jurgen proved indispensable throughout Cain's career. His steadfast loyalty, sharp instincts, and uncanny knack for being in the right place at the right time made him far more than just a bodyguard or assistant. Jurgen's unique talents, such as his immunity to psychic influence, were invaluable in numerous situations, particularly when facing chaos cults or psyker enemies. Cain himself acknowledged on multiple occasions that without Jurgen's unwavering support, many of his most celebrated victories might have ended in disaster. In addition to Jurgen, the soldiers and officers of the Valhallan Ice Warriors were instrumental in Cain's success. Among them, Colonel Castine stood out as a key ally and supporter. Castine's leadership of the Valhallans was marked by pragmatism and a deep understanding of her troops, qualities that resonated with Cain's own approach. The mutual respect between Castine and Cain created a strong working relationship that often proved critical in the face of overwhelming odds. Their collaboration during campaigns like the defense of Perlia demonstrated the power of unified leadership in rallying soldiers and achieving improbable victories. Similarly, Major Brocklaw, another Valhallan officer, provided a counterbalance to Cain's unconventional methods. While Brocklaw's adherence to protocol and discipline occasionally clashed with Cain's more flexible approach, their partnership ultimately strengthened the regiment. Brocklaw's ability to implement Cain's strategies and maintain order among the troops was a testament to his competence as a leader, even if he lacked Cain's flair for inspiring heroism. On the other side of the spectrum were the adversaries who defined Cain's career through their opposition. Among the most memorable was Amberly Vale, an inquisitor of the Ordo Xenos. While Vale was technically an ally, her role as both a collaborator and an observer of Cain's exploits added a layer of complexity to their interactions. Vale's sharp intellect and probing curiosity often put Cain on edge, as her presence brought with it the weight of the Inquisition's authority. Yet, her detailed chronicling of Cain's adventures ensured that his legacy was preserved for posterity, albeit with her own interpretations and embellishments. The enemies Cain faced were as varied as the galaxy itself, ranging from orc warlords to chaos sorcerers. One particularly notable foe was the Tyrannid Menace, an unrelenting force that tested Cain's adaptability and courage on more than one occasion. The battles against these bioengineered horrors highlighted Cain's ability to think on his feet, leveraging unconventional tactics to survive encounters that would have overwhelmed less resourceful leaders. These encounters not only added to his reputation, but also underscored the importance of quick thinking and ingenuity in the face of existential threats. Another recurring type of adversary was the Chaos Cultist. These heretical foes, often hidden within the ranks of Imperial society, posed unique challenges that required Cain to rely on both his investigative skills and his ability to inspire loyalty among those around him. The suppression of cult uprisings on worlds like Adumbria demonstrated Cain's knack for uncovering hidden dangers and rallying forces to confront them head-on. These victories, though often achieved through a combination of luck and improvisation, showcased Cain's effectiveness as a leader in the most unpredictable of circumstances. In addition to these key figures, Cain's interactions with the broader hierarchy of the Imperium also played a significant role in shaping his career. From high-ranking generals to planetary governors, the alliances and rivalries Cain navigated often determined the success or failure of his missions. His ability to build relationships with influential figures while avoiding the pitfalls of political intrigue was a testament to his charisma and adaptability. The ordinary soldiers and civilians who fought alongside Cain or witnessed his deeds also contributed to his legend. Their first-hand accounts, often exaggerated in the retelling, became the foundation of his reputation as a hero. These individuals, though nameless in the grand scheme of the Imperium, played a crucial role in spreading the stories that made Cain a household name across countless worlds. Their admiration for Cain reflected the hope and inspiration he provided, even when his actions were driven more by self-preservation than by selflessness. Ultimately, the figures who surrounded Cain, whether allies, adversaries, or observers, shaped the narrative of his life and legacy. Their contributions, both intentional and incidental, ensured that Cain's story would endure as a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of humanity in the face of unrelenting darkness. Together, they created a tapestry of relationships and events that elevated Cain from a mere commissar to a symbol of hope and survival in a galaxy defined by chaos and conflict. The legacy of Ciaphas Cain, while well documented and widely celebrated, remains shrouded in mystery and debate. His status as a hero of the Imperium invites numerous unresolved questions and theories, as the gulf between his private reflections and public perception leaves ample room for speculation. These uncertainties not only deepen the intrigue surrounding Cain, but also highlight the complexities of heroism in a galaxy where survival often depends on perspective as much as action. One of the most compelling mysteries is the true extent of Cain's motivations. His personal memoirs, annotated and contextualized by Inquisitor Amberly Vale, paint a picture of a man whose primary goal was to stay alive and avoid unnecessary danger. Yet his actions often placed him in situations where the risks far outweighed the benefits of retreat. Was Cain truly as self-serving as he claimed, or did his instinct for survival mask a deeper sense of duty? Some suggest that Cain's self-deprecation was a defense mechanism, a way to cope with the immense pressure of his role while maintaining his humanity in an inhuman galaxy. The reliability of Cain's accounts is another area of debate. While his memoirs provide a detailed and often humorous perspective on his exploits, they are also heavily filtered through his personal biases and Vale's editorial hand. How much of what we know about Cain is true, and how much has been altered to fit the needs of Imperial propaganda or Vale's own agenda? The discrepancies between official records and Cain's private recollections raise questions about the accuracy of both narratives. This ambiguity has led to a cottage industry of historians, scholars, and conspiracy theorists attempting to uncover the real Cain. The role of luck in Cain's success is another enduring question. His memoirs frequently attribute his survival and victories to sheer chance, yet the consistency of his triumphs suggests that more than luck was at play. Was Cain simply downplaying his abilities out of humility, or was there a deeper, perhaps even supernatural force guiding his actions? Some have speculated that Cain's knack for being in the right place at the right time was the result of divine intervention, a subtle manifestation of the Emperor's will. While such theories are dismissed by skeptics, they remain a topic of fervent discussion among the faithful. Jurgen, Cain's loyal aide, is another source of mystery. While his contributions to Cain's successes are well documented, the peculiarities of his abilities and background have never been fully explained. Jurgen's immunity to psychic powers and his unshakable loyalty to Cain suggest there may be more to his story than meets the eye. Was Jurgen merely a fortunate companion, or did his unique traits play a larger, possibly preordained role in Cain's career? The lack of detailed records on Jurgen's origins has only fueled speculation about his true nature. Cain's relationships with key figures within the Imperium also raise questions. His interactions with individuals like Inquisitor Vale suggest a level of mutual respect and trust that is unusual for someone of Cain's rank and background. How did Cain manage to navigate these relationships so effectively, and to what extent did they shape his career? Vale's decision to preserve and publish Cain's memoirs, for instance, speaks to a unique bond between the two, a connection that remains a subject of intrigue and speculation. The public perception of Cain as a flawless hero contrasts sharply with the man depicted in his own writings. This disparity has led to debates about the nature of heroism itself. Was Cain truly a hero, or was he simply a man who made the best of difficult situations? Does heroism require selflessness, or can it coexist with the desire for self-preservation? These questions strike at the heart of Cain's legacy, challenging the traditional definitions of courage and leadership in the Imperium. Another unresolved question is the long-term impact of Cain's actions on the Imperium. While his victories undoubtedly saved lives and bolstered morale, the full extent of their consequences remains unclear. Did his interventions merely delay the inevitable collapse of certain worlds, or did they create lasting stability in regions otherwise doomed to fall? The lack of follow-up accounts from many of the planets Cain helped defend leaves these questions unanswered, adding to the mystique of his legacy. Lastly, there is the matter of Cain's final fate. While his memoirs and Vale's annotations provide a detailed account of his exploits, they end abruptly, leaving his ultimate fate uncertain. Did Cain retire to a life of quiet obscurity, as he often claimed to desire, or did he meet his end in some unrecorded act of heroism? The lack of a definitive conclusion to his story has fueled endless speculation, with theories ranging from his death in a forgotten skirmish to his ascension as a hidden figure within the Imperium's shadowy hierarchy. These unanswered questions and lingering mysteries ensure that Cain's story remains a subject of fascination and debate. They add layers of complexity to his character and legacy, reminding us that in a galaxy defined by chaos and uncertainty, even the brightest legends are not immune to ambiguity. The legacy of Ciaphas Cain stretches far beyond his lifetime, leaving a profound and multifaceted impact on the Imperium. His exploits, both real and embellished, became enduring symbols of resilience, adaptability, and the enduring human spirit. In a galaxy where despair and defeat are ever present, the long-term consequences of Cain's career reach into the hearts and minds of countless generations, shaping not only military doctrine and morale, but also the cultural fabric of the Imperium. One of the most significant long-term effects of Cain's legacy lies in the morale of the Astra Militarum. His stories of triumph, often characterized by wit and pragmatism, have provided a counterpoint to the grim realities faced by Imperial soldiers. Tales of Cain's supposed fearlessness and quick thinking serve as a reminder that even amidst chaos and overwhelming odds, survival and victory are possible. This belief, however simplistic or idealized, plays a vital role in maintaining the fighting spirit of the Imperium's countless regiments. The influence of Cain's methods on the commissariat is another enduring consequence. His approach to leadership, marked by personal engagement and pragmatic decision-making, has inspired a re-evaluation of the traditional role of commissars. While fear and discipline remain cornerstones of the commissariat's ethos, Cain's example demonstrates that empathy and adaptability can be equally powerful tools. Some commissars have sought to emulate his style, fostering closer relationships with their troops and prioritizing morale alongside discipline. Cain's legacy also has implications for how the Imperium constructs its heroes. In a society where propaganda is a cornerstone of unity, the creation of heroic figures is as much about perception as it is about reality. Cain's story, with its blend of extraordinary deeds and relatable humanity, offers a template for how the Imperium can inspire its citizens. Unlike the more distant and mythical figures often exalted by the ecclesiarchy, Cain's accessibility as a flawed yet successful leader resonates with the common soldier and civilian alike, making his legend an invaluable tool in the Imperium's ongoing struggle for cohesion. Culturally, Cain's legacy has become a source of inspiration beyond the battlefield. His memoirs, carefully preserved and annotated by Amberly Vale, provide a rare glimpse into the life of an Imperial hero that balances grand narratives with personal anecdotes. These writings, widely disseminated across the Imperium, have not only entertained but also educated readers about the realities of war, leadership, and survival. They offer a perspective that is both relatable and aspirational, challenging the often monolithic portrayal of Imperial figures as infallible paragons. The strategic and tactical lessons derived from Cain's campaigns have also had a lasting impact. His ability to adapt to diverse challenges, from orc invasions to internal political unrest, has been studied by military academies and strategists. While Cain himself might have dismissed much of his success as luck, the principles underlying his decisions, flexibility, resourcefulness, and an emphasis on morale, have been codified into training programs for Imperial officers. These lessons have proven invaluable in a galaxy where conventional tactics often fail against unpredictable threats. Cain's influence extends to the broader narrative of the Imperium's history. His story, though centered on a single individual, reflects the resilience of humanity as a whole. It underscores the idea that even in a universe defined by war and suffering, individuals can rise above their circumstances to make a difference. This message resonates deeply in a society where the collective often overshadows the individual, offering a rare acknowledgement of personal agency within the vast machinery of the Imperium. The long-term impact of Cain's legacy is perhaps most evident in the enduring hope he provides. In a galaxy where hope is a scarce and precious resource, the memory of Cain's actions serves as a beacon of possibility. His story reminds the Imperium that survival is not only a matter of strength or faith, but also of wit, courage, and the ability to adapt. This belief, though intangible, is a powerful force that sustains the Imperium's billions in their daily struggles. Finally, Cain's legacy raises important questions about the nature of heroism and its role in shaping the Imperium's identity. His story blurs the lines between myth and reality, challenging conventional notions of what it means to be a hero. By embracing both his flaws and his successes, the Imperium has created a figure who is at once extraordinary and relatable, offering a vision of heroism that is both aspirational and achievable. In the end, the long-term significance of Cain's life lies not just in the victories he achieved or the lives he saved, but in the way his story continues to inspire and guide the Imperium. His legacy is a testament to the enduring power of humanity's spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can be found in the actions of those willing to rise to the occasion, however reluctantly.